Hi and welcome to English class. This is the video for Tuesday, September 15th. If you were not able to be in class, I'm going to go through some of the things that we did today. I am going to walk through our agenda here quickly and then we'll go into it piece by piece. So first we watched this poem by Jimmy Santiago Baca. Jimmy Santiago Baca is part Chicane and part Apache Indian and lives in the Southwest. He actually is still a prolific writer. He has a very cool biography. He really taught himself how to read and write when he was much older and found his voice through poetry. He was actually imprisoned for 5 years and in that process discovered his voice and the power of writing. So we're going to look at this poem, and tomorrow, that's Wednesday, September 16th, we're going to have a little quiz on the poem so I can just see where your reading comprehension is. I can't play the video on my video because of copyright, but if you go into Schoology, you can click on it and listen to him speak. And I'm going to move instead into these other pieces, a quick little mini lesson on compound sentences and writing, and then I'll talk you through how to post your discussion notes for What You Pawn I Will Redeem. Your asynchronous work for today is to read the second part of the story, and this is your STEM work. So I've hopped over to our slides for today to talk you through the STEM work. Alright, so first, don't do more writing than you need to. I'm not looking for paragraphs about your thinking on this story. That's what discussion is for. I'm looking for really specific sentences, and I'll show you exactly what that means. So for yesterday's STEM, I want you to copy, he wonders whether he can bring his grandmother back to life. Literally take that. Control-C, copy it. Paste it 3 times into your big Google Doc, and then complete each sentence using because, but, and so. And so by the end of it, it should look something like this. Okay, I'm going to show you here as I do it what he wonders whether he can bring his grandmother back to life. So I am copying and pasting that literally 3 times. And then I'm adding because, so, and but. And here's why. I'm grading you on perfection to start the year. And I'm hoping that you'll show me what you're thinking in discussions and discussion boards. Writing will be a place you can show me what you're thinking in longer assignments, but for now, I want writing to help me understand where you are in your sentence composition. And that's most easily done by having short, targeted assignments. The first one being this, our use of conjunctions. So I'll do a couple here with you, and hopefully if you have questions, you can just reach out to me. Start with, he wonders whether he can bring his grandmother back to life because she died of breast cancer that started when her heart broke. Period. He wonders whether he can bring his grandmother back to life, so he begins a journey to recoup some of the losses of her people. He wonders whether he can bring his grandmother back to life, but deep down he knows that this won't be possible. So 3 different ways to think about a very simple part of the story. You are revealing some good understandings here, but the emphasis is not on generating as much writing as possible. Instead, the emphasis is on grammar. So this is the first day I'm grading your work for grammatical perfection. I feel okay about that because I'm seeing good stuff, and I also know that with such a short assignment, you have the time to make it perfect. We're using because, so, and but, so I'll be looking especially for appropriate comma usage. I give you the STEM, you write it 3 different ways. That's a new example of what I already talked about. We're going to talk about commas. Why do I use a comma sometimes and not always? Well, you insert the comma when the phrase that follows could be a complete sentence. You don't insert a comma when the phrase that follows is an incomplete sentence or a fragment. For example, I could say, this year will be a new challenge because technical issues may crop up. Technical issues may crop up, that phrase, that's an independent clause, a complete sentence. It could stand alone. So the comma there helps us break up those thoughts. This year will be a new challenge because of the pandemic. Of the pandemic is not a complete sentence. It's not a complete thought. And so you don't need a comma there. In fact, a comma would be inappropriate. One last example. This morning will be a new challenge, so I'm going to wake at 6 a.m. for some quiet morning yoga. I'm going to wake at 6 a.m. for some quiet morning yoga. It's a complete thought, so I definitely need a comma to separate both independent clauses from each other. So a comma is going to be a really important way to break up the sentence and give you a breath. Here's another example. One last example. Okay. This year will be a new challenge, but I will learn a lot about myself that I didn't know before. I will learn a lot about myself I didn't know before. Complete thought, independent clause, or a complete sentence. You need a comma. This year will be a new challenge, but a good one. A good one, incomplete, fragment, no comma. The comma would be inappropriate. Notice there are no commas after the words because, so, or but. Do not put a comma there. This year will be a new challenge because, comma. Technical issues may crop up. No. Comma comes before. This year will be a new challenge, but, comma. I will learn a lot about myself that I didn't know before. No. Move the comma in front of but, never after. Well, like 99% of the time, never after. And then you will have a nice clean sentence. That's what I'm looking for. I'm going to grade 3 points for grammatical accuracy this week and 3 points for understanding for a total of 6 points a day. Okay, I hope that was helpful. So now we're moving into the story, and I want to move to the agenda to help you understand where to find the discussion board, because if you're watching this video, you were not in our class discussion. We used this document to track our thinking, and we chose, just like yesterday's class, one of the topics here, and I modeled the use of alcohol in the story. You could also choose to talk about regalia, homelessness, or the grandmother. Once you have your topic, feel free to come back to this document and look and see what your classmates had to say about it. And then you'll go to your discussion board, which is located on Schoology, and you'll post your thoughts. So in order to get to that, you can look on the side here and see that it's assigned Discussion What You Pawn, Section 1. Or you could come all the way down to Unit 1 and then go down to Day 5. And you'll see not only all the materials, again linked for today, but also this discussion board. So if you missed class, come into the discussion board and tell me a little bit about one of these topics. I'm going to model this right now, give you a sense of what kinds of thinking I'm looking for. So the topic I'm using is alcohol. I want you to find 2 to 3 good quotes about whatever your topic is and analyze them. What is he trying to say below the surface? So I have this quote. He says, "We earned $5, good enough for a bottle of fortified courage from the most beautiful 7-Eleven in the world." And I'm going to analyze that. What's happening here with the alcohol? Notice how the alcohol is not even mentioned by exact name. That's the first thing I notice. I'm observing things in my analysis to begin. And then I have to ask the question, like, why? I mean, why doesn't he just say, "We went and bought some malt liquor"? Why doesn't he just say, "We went and bought some liquor"? It must be, now I'm just thinking as I write, which is what discussion is, it's just thinking out loud. It must be that he doesn't actually see alcohol as a simple bottle of something to drink. He sees it as offering something emotional to him. In this case, it offers actual courage. It gives him courage and confidence to live his life, or to hide from his life. And so I'm thinking about that, like, wow, it's interesting. It gives him the courage to face his life and also to hide from his life. And that's a contradiction, so now I want to resolve that. Maybe hiding from his life is the only thing that allows him to face it. So I feel like I'm into something interesting here. I have another quote I found. We bought 3 bottles of imagination. We needed to figure out how to raise all that money in only one day. So, wow, now alcohol is not only courage, but imagination. It gives him creativity. He has really built up alcohol to be a kind of elixir, like a potion, something that helps him in his life. Of course, we know from reading the story that it damages him a lot, but he's not willing to face that. And I mean, it's sad, but I think that's what happens when people abuse a substance like alcohol. It's really difficult to face that that's what you're doing. If he knew he was doing it and was completely confident in that, instead, maybe he could develop a better relationship with these substances. But right now, he's hiding from the damage, it seems, for me. So there's my analysis. And I would just post that into the discussion board. Of course, again, if you're in class, you don't need to post anything. You're talking. Or you're listening, and that's how you're evidencing that analysis. So today's work is to go to this stem. Jackson immediately spends all the money he makes, copy that into Tuesdays, and then finish the sentence. It's going to make a lot more sense after you've read section 2 of our story, and that part stops when you get to 4 a.m., right after he's gotten drunk and had that scene in the bar. So read the second part, and come back here to the stem, copy it into your notes, and then finish your sentences. And that was class on Tuesday. Feel free to always come to class to get a read aloud of the story where I do a live read aloud. And if you want a recorded read aloud, I think I can probably put that together. I'll try to find a good audio instead first of Sherman Alexie reading his own story, and if I can't find that, I'll do it myself. Thank you very much.